What's up, Worship Piano family? So I just got a question from somebody about playing in black keys. If you're not as familiar with playing in the keys with sharps and flats on them, specifically the ones that start on a black key. So actually, this may be counterintuitive for some people, but I actually recommend starting with the key of F sharp, also known as the key as G flat. The reason why this might be counterintuitive is because it includes the most amount of black keys of all the keys. And there's a reason why I recommend this, and that's because, well, you can play your pentatonic scale with just playing the black keys, and you know that all the notes are going to sound good. The second reason is that the only two notes that are white keys are your 4 and your 7. If you know music theory, you know that those are both of your leading tones. So it works very nicely that B leads down to A sharp, and E sharp in this case leads up to F sharp, or if you want to call it by its flat names, then F leads up to G flat. And so you have both the white keys are the ones that are going to sound dissonant together. You hear that as a dissonance, and they're the ones that push out. So you know, again, all the pentatonic notes are on your black keys. If you want to do one of those, they all fit together in the key of F sharp. So that's the first reason that I think you should start there. It's all right there underneath the hand. And then if you're actually getting started with it, if you're brand new to playing black keys, this is really the way that I recommend that you do it, is start with this shape right here. You have an F sharp and a C sharp, and those notes will fit with every single chord you play because that's your root and your fifth. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the C sharp is your fifth. I'm just choosing to put it down here. I think it often sounds better this way for reasons we can get into later, but you can play every single chord in this key with that. So if you're reading off a chord chart, all you'll do is play the letter in the left hand that the chord chart says. So an exercise that I think makes a really good warm-up for this, for beginners to black keys, is just to go straight up the scale. So you go F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp. And you see I even named them while I did it. I recommend that for you, to name those letters, because you'll get used to it. And then when you see them on a chord chart and you see an F sharp chord, you know it's right there, or an A sharp chord and it's right there. And you see in the right hand, I'm literally playing that for every single chord. So give me an example of a song that actually does this. It's actually in this key specifically, and it does this technique on the actual piano part. So this is a real technique. It's an easy intro to playing in a harder key like this, but it's actually a real technique as well, where you put this, I call it a fifth, again, because it is like that, but it's flipped on its head. I call it the anchor fifth technique, is the way that I explain it. And so it's, if you've heard of the song Reckless Love, it goes, oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And so it literally just goes straight down D sharp, C sharp, B, and F sharp. Pretty simple. If you want to expand it, then all you got to do is just put some octaves in your left hand. If you don't know, that's a D sharp to the lower D sharp. And you hear you have nice and full chords. Again, in a key that you might not be that familiar with. And then just put some chord notes in your right hand. It's that simple. You're already playing some nice sounding worship music in a key you're not that familiar with, because you're just reading straight out the chord chart, the D sharp, C sharp, B, F sharp. At this point, you're not even concerned with if it's major or minor. You're literally just playing those notes there and playing this on repeat. So I recommend that you start there. That's the first place to start. Once you're ready to go beyond that, so you should learn the scales on both the right hand and the left hand. I know some people might say endless scales are not necessary for worship music. I would agree, endless scales are not, but having the scales under your hand, knowing what these notes are, black keys and white keys, is very valuable. So start off by just knowing the straight up notes. Again, I'm demoing this so you can see which notes very clearly, and then work on playing it with chords. So F sharp, G sharp minor, A sharp minor, B, C sharp minor, D sharp minor. And that's really all you need. You can do this one here as a diminished chord or as an inversion. That one's not as important for now. There's more things that I would recommend you do with it later, but to literally just go up the scale like this. And back down is helpful as well. In addition to saying the letters, I do recommend, by the way, that you talk out loud, even if it makes you sound crazy while you're practicing. Is to say the numbers of it. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to your 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And counting it upside down can be helpful too, because sometimes we're only used to going up and not down. And that'll help you to be able to know the numbers that you're playing it as well. So yeah, literally just using that first, and then second doing the chords straight up. I'll give you one more technique of how you can do these up and down the scale, which is a nice way, again, to do your chords like this. You remember we talked about just putting these two in this hand and moving the left hand around? So I'll give you one more way that you can do this. It's maybe one touch harder, but would make for some nice chord shapes, is putting a fifth in your left hand. So the left hand fifth is going to move around. Again, that 7, we don't normally use that one, but you can use it for practice purposes. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, so in this case, then we're going to do this anchor right here and put that fifth right there. We're going to go, just keep that one the same every time. We're going to move this one up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. So then you have these chords that fit with everything you do. And now, instead of just the basic notes, which again is a good starting point, the single notes are a good starting point. Now all of a sudden you have more interesting chords. Here, that's an add 9 chord, if you know that harmony. Or that's the sus chord right there. This one's interesting, it makes an 11. Right there. And I think honestly, if you knew these shapes, then you're already on a strong foundation of the key. Now there's other things that I recommend doing. I'll add some notes in the middle like this. Sometimes, sometimes do some inversions. This as an anchor up top is a very reliable technique for doing your chords. So I'd start there with just all your diatonic notes, and then getting used to non-harmonic, non-chord tones is a whole other thing after that. But that's the key of F sharp. So I would start there as your very first key, and then after that you can move down to the key of D flat. Reason being that I'd go to D flat next is this also uses all the black keys. If you didn't know, there's 3 keys that use all the black keys. The other one is the key of B, which weirdly enough is a white key but uses all 5 black keys. So the 3 again are F sharp, B, and D flat. Those 3 keys use all 5 black keys. So start on F sharp. I'd recommend go to D flat next, and then just learn what your white keys are. Again, it's not quite as clean as how in the key of F sharp you have your 4 and your 7 again. Those are the leading tones, right? So that 7 leads up and that 4 leads down. If you didn't know, it's because they're a half step. Okay, but in this key right here, the key of D flat, it's just your 3rd there, and it's your 7th there that are white keys. Everything else is a black key. So then I do the same technique. Right there, walking up with this anchor here. Again, it's the 1 and the 5, but inverted down, and then do it with your 5th. Do that with your chords, and then when you get comfortable doing your chords, then start playing some melodies as well. So start playing some melodies in it, like I just thought of that song randomly, I don't know, like that's the song Firm Foundation. So playing some melodies and stuff like that. That's the other thing too, just playing specific songs will also help you get used to these keys, as well as improvising in these keys will help you. So I just get real used to, again, the key of F sharp, and then I which just has one note difference. So once you've learned F sharp, you go to D flat, again G flat, you can call that G flat or F sharp. Then go into this key, there's only one note difference. So then to get to the next key, by the way, the trick is, if you've ever heard the circle of fifths, you just go to the fifth note. So now we're in the key of D flat. To go to the next key, you just go to the fifth note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're in that key, the key of A flat. Now we're going less. This one has 7 black keys. And so it's those 7. Again, if you learn your pattern about the whole steps and half steps, so you got whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. It's always going to be the same pattern. But as we're going through this direction, by going up a fifth, we're going to lose 1 flat every time. So again, this is 4 black keys. So you can either learn which ones your black keys are, which are these 4, or you can learn which ones your white keys are, which are those 4. And just do the same things. Use that. Get used to your chord, get used to your inversions. I have some other techniques, by the way, that I go through with people, some chord inversions and some different progressions that we do. But yeah, just start with A flat after that, and then go to E flat, because again, going around the circle, got the key of E flat, and then after that we go up to B flat. And B flat's kind of weird because it's a black key, but it only has 2 black keys in it. So the key of B flat, to me, is one of the weirdest keys because your home note is on a B flat, but your 5th note is on a white key. So going straight through. And so that's the last black key, because again, if you go up to the 5th note, that puts you on a white key, and we've made it all the way around. So again, going around in order, if you start at F sharp first, go to the 5th note is D flat, the 5th note is A flat, and then you got E flat for your 5th note, and you got E flat, and that gives us all 5 of the black keys. So again, I'd start right here with F sharp, get used to that key, and then D flat, E flat, A flat, B flat. Which, by the way, what I did right there is a great exercise for you to go through as well. Just start on one key, and then go to the next in the circle of fifths, next in the circle of fifths, next, and then next. You can take this all the way around, by the way. You can continue the white keys after B flat is F, and then C, and then G, and then D, A, E, and so on, right? You can go all the way around if you wanted to, right? After that's B, and now we're on the F sharp, which puts us back at the beginning. And one thing that I'd recommend for you, actually, even, is to not jump around. Some people, when they're first doing this kind of exercise, will jump like, which you hear obviously doesn't sound particularly musical. One thing I recommend is keep your stuff musical when you're going through your exercises. So for example, if you're trying to go around the circle of fifths, to not do it so choppy, but instead to play nice and smooth, like maybe you're going like this. And now all of a sudden we might feel more inspired to actually make music. Anyway, so that's the different keys. So again, start with F sharp, then go to D flat, work through the key of D flat. And then once you did D flat, then go to the key of A flat, again the 5th there, and then go to the 5th there, and then work through E flat, and then on B flat. So if you'd like to work with me more closely, I'm happy to help you work through some of these things. Send me a message. I'd love to get in touch with you. If you watched this song, thanks for the support. And I hope this was helpful. Have a blessed day.